biological experiment gone wrong? Or is this a calculated leak to test super viruses on the unknowing public? A recent onset of horrifying news stories featuring people attacking and then eating the flesh of other humans makes many wonder if we're facing a real threat from the walking dead.
All these stories in the media now started to pop up about zombies, people that have these uncontrollable urges, whether they're eating their wife's arm, or in one case, this man literally stabbed himself, cut himself open, cut out pieces of his entrails and started throwing it at the cops. I mean, who does that?
Are these incidents signs of impending doom? And are we all potential walking zombies? When we return, a man reunites with his father 6 years after his own funeral. Unsealed Conspiracy Files.
Are you overweight?
Unsealed Case File. Real-life Haitian zombie. In the 1990s, a man named Wilfred Dorisol reunited with his father after an absence of several years. The last time he'd seen his son, at his funeral, Wilfred seemed different, soulless, according to his friends and family. His uncle, Bolivo Dorisol, who had allegedly been employing Wilfred on his farm, was taken into custody. The charge, turning Wilfred into a zombie.
C'est pas lui-même, c'est lui mettre Wilfred de l'équipe.
Wilfred's father kept him in stocks at their family home.
In Haiti, there's an awareness of the zombie practices so much so that they put it into the legal code that it is against the law to turn someone into a zombie.
Wilfred's uncle was convicted on the charge of zombification and sentenced to life in prison.
Personne ne dit comme ça, et plutôt, mourir que par faire zombie, mais de mourir.
Could Haitian zombies infect the United States? Perhaps they have already.
Now you have a big event in Miami, homeless guy gets his face eaten off by another man out of nowhere. So is it a coincidence, or is this something new? Is this something connected to some type of new virus?
From voodoo to viruses, your zombie fate is closer than you might think. Stories of brain-hungry zombies have been around for centuries. Only now are these myths beginning to sound more like reality. Experts have one theory how.
The military is researching microscopic nanobots that can ultimately do whatever you ask them to do or program them to do. Make them fight a war, make them kill a person.
This technology could not only land in the wrong hands, it could take on a life of its own.
When you deal with a virus like rabies, that's something that's much more violent than something like mad cow. But what happens when that mutates? Or what happens when humans create a more violent strain of rabies that we can't control? And that's a very scary scenario.
4 months before the Miami zombie attack, a suspicious surge in rabies vaccinations occurs just north of the city. Speculation alludes to a government release of a rabies supervirus.
Yeah, that's a conspiracy theory that was being circulated. It's down in the Florida area, a biological warfare facility is testing a rabies virus. And there's a rabies virus that affects human beings.
When you get into these viruses that start mutating and being morphed into something that maybe we can fight it on Tuesday, but we can't on Wednesday, that's a pretty scary scenario.
H1N1, swine flu. This human disease has killed over 18,000 people since it arrived in 2009 and seems to have spawned an even deadlier flu virus in 2012.
There's a theory that in addition to H1N1, avian flu, swine flu, all the variations that could use H1Z1, this is also called the zombie flu. Whether we or not, is a flu that supposedly stops the patient's heart and then can restart the heart.
The zombie flu virus may be a hoax. But what if the military did possess the ability to reanimate a dead body? The Soviet Union did just that in the 1940s. Unseen Russian zombie tech.
During the Cold War, the Soviet Union was conducting experiments to figure out could they reanimate dead tissue, dead organs, and they were able to bring back, after they decapitated a dog, bring back its head without its body.
The isolated head even reacts to light and to sound.
If reanimation technology existed over 50 years ago, imagine where it is today.
The Russians have spent the last decade and a half researching what is now called a zombie ray gun. This is something that can be fired to another human being into their head and ultimately just smash their brain and render it absolutely useless.
Of course, there's a more traditional way to create a zombie. The Haitian voodoo priest employs a centuries-old method using pufferfish neurotoxin and the ground-up leaves of the poisonous manchineel tree.
What the witch doctor does is give somebody a very, very powerful drug, which slows the heart rate and they virtually die. There's no legitimate physician around to test for bodily signs and such. They then bury the person. Later, with great flourish, the witch doctor unburies the person, gives them a different drug that pulls them out of the first drug. Usually, by the way, the damage done by these drugs is incredible, so the person will have a psychotic break, will never be right in the head again.
Up next, we uncover the necessary tools you will need to endure the zombie apocalypse. A military megavirus, a virulent strain of human-born rabies, a mutated super flu, or even Haitian zombie powder. Whatever the source, it's vital that Americans prepare themselves for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. Unseen Cakewalk, Zombie Preparedness Plan. May 2011, Atlanta, Georgia. The Center for Disease Control publishes an emergency response guide on how to survive the zombie apocalypse. The report includes benign advice about emergency kit items, gallon jugs of water, non-perishable food, a battery-powered radio. Buried in the document is the ominous reminder of the CDC's power to isolate and quarantine the public.
Back in 2011, the Center for Disease Control, in an effort to educate the public about being prepared for some type of natural disasters, published a report outlining if zombies were to invade, how could we as a society be prepared for that?
Did a government leak lead to a zombie cover-up? Military virus research is well documented. Super germs are developed and cultured in the lab. With viruses in the open, an outbreak is not only possible, it's inevitable. How will you survive?
What I would personally do, I'd probably just load up my ammo and just prepare for the worst. I don't think there's much more you can do other than that, because it's a rampant disease. Spreads for society. No gun, no wall, and no shield is going to keep that.
The fact is, we are prepared for this. The characteristic is we've come so close to Armageddon and so different that we're not prepared for this.
Unseen Cakewalk, Zombies. Somewhere in north-central Kansas, Level, a engineer turned survivalist, sees the world around him crumbling and is inspired to action. underground F-1 missile silo, capable of withstanding any apocalypse, including zombies. Each of the 8 units has been sold for $1 million apiece. A second surgical condo is reportedly under construction.
The condoms being sold in missile silos to protect against some kind of disease. They're biohazard safe because they reduce that way. They exist for $1 million. Get your own half floor in a missile silo, complete with artificial movements and a security system.
One thing they don't have, a known address. If you're one of the lucky 8 who own one, you know where it is. Otherwise, you're out of luck.
There are things you can do that basically will allow you to stay in one piece for 3 to 4 days.
Will these luxury silos be overrun by desperate survivors in the panicked first days of the zombie apocalypse? Or will we be locked out and forced to the brain-eating monsters alone? Survival experts stress the importance of an escape plan. Keep a level head. Go far away from crowded cities. And most of all, make sure you're ready to die. Coming up, could real-life zombies trigger the end of days? Mankind, in its effort to play God, has invited his wrath. The question isn't, will zombies rise? But when? Unsealed Conspiracy File.
Humans could be the ones that lead to their own demise. We are fast-tracking our way to making that really horrific discovery that we can't control.
As with anything that lives, humankind will die. When will man become extinct? And what will be the cause? Could it be that your gravestone will read, "Death by zombie"? Unsealed.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. We're going to bring to you some information dealing with what's going on in this world today, what can be expected to be going on in this world today. A lot of you say this is spookism and all of these things. That may be the case, but understand something. You see in these documents, you've seen these are scientists, white scientists, our government, NASA, crackers that are concealing a lot of truths, so forth and so have you. And primarily, I want to speak about this shit that they've been starting about, talking about the zombies. I only got the clips that I'm showing, I only get part of it before it hit me, because they showed a black man that an outcase broke out in Miami. Then after that, shortly after that in Baltimore, Maryland, they showed another black youth who exhibit the same effects, zombified effects. So it just hit me that, like, damn, okay, why are they showing the black men first, or is this what this is going to be targeted at first, is black men? And in this documentary or in the clips, you'll hear them say that maybe these brothers unknowingly had these experiments done. Even the theory that they were kidnapped, had this experiment done, brought back on the street. Because one was homeless. So if the government or any government agency did something, were to do something like that, who would know? Who would to know? Because the black man is homeless, no family members or nothing. So if they abducted him off the street, took him somewhere to some lab and did some experiment to him for months or a week or whatever, and then put him back out in population, who's to know? And that's what we have to really stop being naive about. I'm trying not to get off track on